Earthquakes, landslides, typhoons, tsunamis. We call them natural disasters, but the toll they take on the most vulnerable, especially children, is unnatural. The numbers of those killed, injured or made destitute by natural hazards is due mainly to a lack of preparedness, sometimes environmental mismanagement and occasionally corruption. Children on the front line comes from the front line of disasters. We focus on young people who are taking it upon themselves to reduce the risks to themselves and to their communities. We begin in Southern Leyte in the Philippines, one of the world's most disaster-prone countries. It's a country where 1/3 of the population is under 14. In this program, we feature landslide survivor Alvin and schoolgirl Honey. We'll see how, with the help of a governor and a handful of sympathetic community leaders, they're leading a campaign started by students to reduce the risk of the terrible death of suffocation in a wall of sliding mud. School children are drilled for disaster. According to the Philippines Red Cross, the country is hit by an average of 21 typhoons a year. It's also on the Philippine fault zone, making earthquakes a common occurrence. Most dreaded are the savage tropical storms that cause devastating mudslides and flash floods. 16-year-old Alvin is one of only 374 survivors of a devastating landslide in 2006, which killed 1,126 people in Guinsaugon village. At least 200 schoolchildren were killed when the school was engulfed. Alvin survived and believes many of his fellow students could have been saved if the community had been better prepared. He now teaches younger children how to minimize the risks of future disasters.
Okay, how many kinds of hazards do we have? 4. What is it?
Landslide.
Flash flood. Typhoon. First, you will draw your school and determine the hazard of your school.
The children are even being involved in redrawing maps that pinpoint places of greatest risk. It's called hazard mapping and is now as familiar a part of the curriculum as maths and science.
Our school is prone to landslide, flash flood, vehicular accident, and also earthquake.
We children have the right to participate in every activities in our community, in our school, and also in our nation. It is better for us to facilitate by our own in different activities because we're not depending on some other people because not all the time they are with us. So it is better to be yourself as a student as well as children, that you are knowledgeable and educated on what to do in that when the disaster arrives.
Santa Paz is a small barangay or community of around 75 families on the island of Panon, also in Southern Leyte. When a typhoon or tropical storm floods the hillsides of Panon Island, or when an earthquake shakes the slopes, mudslides are the result. The last time mud and trees came crashing down the mountain, the village was lucky and its school was spared.
What do you think? Other problems?
17-year-old pupil Honey wants to ensure the safety of schoolchildren in the future.
There was a landslide that occurred in our village, and because of that, the people were really afraid. There is a big possibility that there could be another landslide that will happen, that can make a loss of lives because our place is now at danger and prone to landslide. So this mountain here is a local mountain. And
Like Alvin, Honey has become a disasters prevention mentor to younger pupils at Santa Paz High School on the island of Panon. Honey wants her classmates to know that although the hillsides can be death traps, there are lots of ways to diminish risk.
So because of that, our place still is at high risk to landslide. We have the right to be safe, and adults have this responsibility to make assure that we are safe. That's why it is very important that they will listen to us, because the things that we are saying is just for our own safety, and it's their responsibility to assure our safety. So that's why it is important that our voice will be heard.
A trench to divert floodwater, as well as a concrete and tree barrier, have been constructed to protect the school against mudslides. But Honey argued its location makes it vulnerable, and only a move could guarantee safety. A temporary tent school has been set up while a safe location is found.
After we, the students, decided to move to that area, we had an assessment that that place is not yet safe to build our permanent school, and because of that, we have this campaign.
Honey started a letter-writing campaign to persuade the local authorities that they should act.
We, the students, want to be relocated in a much more safer area and a more comfortable place for us to have our classes. We knew that the place in our temporary school still has hazards around it, and so it's still unsafe for us to stay.
With that campaign letter, it really empowered us children, students, because we were given the chance to speak out and what we really want. I realized that even if we're just children or a student, our voice can also be heard by bigger or older persons.